Hey everyone, welcome back to Better Love Live. I am so excited. I met this guest almost a year ago, and just before we went on, she's going to share why this date is important. But this episode is all about how to love yourself and how to date yourself. I cannot think, now not date by how old you are, like literally getting to know yourself as a person, what you like and don't like. I truly believe as a matchmaker, before you can date other people, you got to date yourself and know who you are, what you want, and what you bring to the table. And I am so excited to bring you here, my girlfriend. It's Jasenia. She is an incredible woman all around, an artist, soulful person. I mean, talented human being. Welcome back to the Better Love Live show. Hey, girl.
Hi, I'm so happy to be here. I know you mentioned it, but today, out of all days, marks the 1 year anniversary since my breakup. What felt like the most horrible thing that could have happened in my life ended up being the most beautiful blessing through all that pain, because I discovered myself and how to not be afraid to be alone, and how to fall in love with myself and stay in love and get to know who this person is. I've chopped my hair off. I got new boobies.
What did you do with your boobies?
They're smaller.
Wow. Did you get a reduction?
Yeah, they used to be 500 cc, so now they're 325. That was a long journey in itself. I had tuberous breast. That's a genetic anomaly. It happens to a small group of women. And long story short, I had procrastinated that so much because I had forgotten to put myself first. I put relationships before me, other things before me. And I was like, you know what? Now there's no excuse. Now I have no other time but for me. So let me do this. And we finally crossed that finish line. The doctor that did this for me, he's amazing, Dr. Austin. He understood the complexity of this, because women with tuberous breast need 4, 5, 6, even sometimes 7 surgeries. And to help me get to the finish line and where I want to be, where I'm comfortable with myself and loving myself. I mean, it makes this whole chapter okay, now we close this off to a new book,
I love that. And your journey in itself, forget that today happens to be the 1 year anniversary of the date that a very traumatic and sudden breakup happened for you. Your journey as a woman who's been through some pretty deep and heavy and traumatic relationships, including one that was abusive. You are a survivor of domestic abuse. Your relationships have been very rocky. So is this the longest time, Jasenia, that you have been sort of on your own, dealing with yourself? Tell me about that. And what have you learned about this journey of dating yourself?
Yes, I realized that I've been in relationships that lasted longer than they needed to be because I wanted to be loved by someone other than a family member or a friend. And that's where the big missing piece comes to play. It's, wow, had I loved myself at least enough, I would not have been in these very unhealthy and dangerous relationships where in my abusive situation, I had a miscarriage, broken bones, destroyed everything I had worked so hard on, and which is why I had to rebuild. So the very first person that ever showed me interest or love, I latched onto and held on to, because I didn't know that don't put your eggs all in one basket. I didn't know exactly what I wanted and what I needed. I didn't know what that meant until I worked with you. I remember, and I know that you do too, when you asked me to make a list of what I need and what I want, and it took weeks, even almost months for me to even get there, because what I thought I wanted and needed was just something simple, as long as he's nice and he likes me and it's fun. And you were like, there's more than that. There's more than that. Dig deep. And dating myself and then feeling comfortable enough to venture off into the dating world, I discovered what it is I want and what I don't want, and what I need and what I don't need. And I think that you explained it so perfectly. So whoever's listening to what a need and a want is, you defined that so clearly for me. So thank you, first of all, because it makes dating now moving forward so much better and easier for me.
Yeah, I love that. But you were also a very willing and very coachable and not even agreeable. Like you were going through a lot of pain, but you literally were like, just tell me what I need to do. I'm going to do it. What is the instruction? How do I get over this situation? And it was like, so it, to be honest, I don't think that you would have had the results that you're experiencing today if you were not willing to put yourself in capable hands, but also do the work that was necessary. You literally followed the advice. And, you know, anybody who's trying to get to a certain goal or an outcome, if I don't listen to my trainer, I'm not getting results. If I don't eat that food that I'm supposed to eat or follow that diet or meal plan to get those results, it's all just lip service. So the beautiful thing about yourself too is that you realize, and it started with awareness and knowing that, hey, up until this point, I have been doing a series of things that have been getting me to the same point. And you were so generously giving a lot of energy and time, unfortunately, into people that were not necessarily deserving of that time and energy, or didn't know what to do with that time and energy, or were taking advantage of that, right? So what was the, after this experience, I mean, what did you discover about dating yourself that you always knew or that you didn't know? What were some of those unknowns, or what were some of the things you're like, I knew it?
I think I was scared of my own potential. I think I was scared of my own greatness, right? So I always found greatness in others. And I thought that by me putting all this time into them, that they would then love me more than I was capable of loving myself. And by having the chance of being locked down, or literally by myself, nobody to distract me, no work to distract me, I realized that what am I going to do now? Because I don't have an outlet to run to. I don't have a way to neglect the bigger picture. And I always knew that I was talented. I always knew that I could do amazing things. I just didn't realize that I was giving too much of myself to people, that I was losing myself. That in a matter of months, 3, 4, 5 months of just focusing on myself, how drastic my life changed financially, emotionally, spiritually, and mentally. I was working with a therapist, you know, that's something I knew I needed to do, but because everyone needed me to be strong and needed to be there and I neglected to do that. So I was able to do things that I know I needed to do, that now I had nothing but the time in the world to do it. And that allowed me to grow. And where I was, like, it's just so day and night, which is why, like, regardless of all that pain, because I know you saw me, I looked a mess the first. I was skinny.
I was scared. I was literally like, okay, how do I get through the TV or the computer and like give her a hug or call somebody to like watch you or monitor you, because you were really in deep pain at the time. Half the time you were sobbing when we were chatting. You couldn't even speak.
Yeah, I was, you know, double teaming with you and a therapist definitely got me like open. Allowed me to be vulnerable.
You're the one who you actually coined me the love recovery coach. I'm simply a matchmaker and relationship expert, but you're like, you are my love me recovery. Yeah, I matched you with you. That's the best match ever. Now, we talked a little bit. I don't know if you ever followed through on reading the book Attached. And remember how I was sharing with you about attachment styles? And everything that you're describing really talks about you having this very anxious attachment style. And when you are in an anxiously attached partner, you being the anxious one, you tend to sort of obsess, prioritize, make the relationship important, and make yourself unimportant. How did you overcome that, where you're no longer prioritizing someone else's needs, but focusing on yourself?
I think that being told by the person that you loved, who was your best friend, that you're narcissistic and I'm codependent and you're bad and I'm wrong and you're, and I'm good. And I was like, I need to fix this. I need to fix this. And figuring out that no, it was like you said, this codependency attachment style and this anxiousness of don't leave me, just love me, and losing yourself. I realized that putting yourself first is not a bad thing to do. I thought it was selfish. I thought doing that would be narcissistic, but one of the therapists that I spoke with down the tracks, I went to a spiritual retreat up in upstate New York, and she was like, we all have in us this codependency and narcissism. It's a balance. Now, when it's so far off, she was like, let me tell you something, a narcissistic person wouldn't have gotten help. Because they would have been like, I'm not narcissistic.
I don't know any narcissistic person that has a therapist. I don't think they go hand in hand.
And it messed me up. But I realized that, wow, like, you know what? I need to understand that what's mine is mine. The only thing that I can control is myself, and knowing what it is I want and what I'm deserving of, because I didn't think that I was deserving of anything more than what I was getting. I thought, if this is it, I can live with this, and that's okay, because I know that I'll love them, and I know that I can put love into this, and then maybe down the road we can match the same energy. But that's not the way to go about it. What's meant to be yours is yours. I know couples that break up, go about their life, and if it's meant to be, they'll get back, but they're not the same people from before. And if you are, then it's just repeating the same thing over and over, And for me, yeah, I've gone on dates that have been really great, that might have gone to a second or third, but after a while, like there are red flags. And it's not like in my previous relationships, I didn't see those little red flags, and they weren't crazy, but I knew that they were there and they were always going to be there. I just tried to neglect it. So if I want to give anybody that's dating advice, is if you pick up on a red flag, okay, now be mindful. But by the second, third date, if those red flags keep coming up, they're going to still be there. Even if you are in a relationship, you're not therapist, you're not mom, it's not your job to be an emotional and mental punching bag. It is not okay. So for me, I've dated amazing men that can check mark a lot of the things that I want, but then there were a few things that kept coming up. And then I just realized, like, you know what? I'm not putting, this egg is no longer in this basket. I don't have it all in just one, but it's not, I have enough eggs. It's not the first guy I'm going to meet. It's not the first guy that I'm going to meet that I like. On to the next.
So it sounds like what you've done is you've identified key boundaries, and you've identified.
Which you taught me how.
Yes, you've identified the traits that are not going to mesh well in a partnership. Like you've established what you require in a partnership. And if something shows up, rather than ignoring it, you're mentally checking. And are you communicating now? Were you afraid to communicate those things because you thought, he's not going to like me? And how have you shifted that now?
Oh, yes. I think one of the hardest things that I ever had, even in my relationships, was communicating how they made me feel, because I never want anyone to feel bad, right? But also, if I can't express myself and I'm walking on eggshells, then that's not fair to me too. So I think one of the things that you were able to also assist with me on that is to communicate my thoughts and feelings. And the first guy I ever went on a date with, and we were like continuously talking, it took me about an hour just to say something that now might take me 5 minutes. But he was patient and he understood. And when I finally got there, I didn't feel bad. And he didn't make me feel bad. He respected and understood that I knew that this just wasn't it. And
right.
I didn't feel like I was obligated to stay. I didn't feel like I had to, fight for this to work. I didn't feel like anything, like I'm wrong if I leave, that's how messed up of me. No. And now with the practice, I always tell my niece, practice does not make perfect. It makes for preparation, right? And now I'm just fully prepared because I've been practicing how to express my thoughts. I've been practicing my boundaries. I know what my boundaries are. I'm not here to I'm not here to mold you and make you who I want you to be. If you're not that, then you're not for me. You know, it's that simple.
Who am I talking to right now? Who am I?
You were talking to a woman that took all the notes that you gave me, all the work that my therapist gave me too. Like you're talking to someone that really, really wanted to live the rest of my life as best as I can. And conquering that fear of being alone and conquering the fear of rejection. Because, you know, I was a big girl once. I had classes and braces. No one looked at me, you know. And then the moment that I did get attention after I lost that, it was the wrong attention. And it was relationships, like I said, that should not have been, because I didn't love myself. And now I'm loving myself. And I know that I'm putting in this work and I'm manifesting that my future someone, husband, partner, they're doing the same thing, and we're inevitably going to match our energy. I told my friend this once. So you have all this list, but what about you? You want a man that's got abs, but you don't even go to the gym, and you got like I don't know what you got, girlfriend. So you need to start going to the gym and match the energy.
You know, here's something that I picked up on. At one point in your past, you were not popular. You said you had the braces, you had the bigger weight, you were teased. And even though you transformed physically on the outside, you looked a certain way, but you had still that big girl, the insecure girl, that nobody likes me girl. People saw you won the Kim Kardashian lookalike, but you were still that big girl. Did you realize that, or you didn't even know that?
I didn't know that. I didn't know that until, working a lot with various specialists and stuff, because like I said, I've become really good friends with not just, you know, people that reached, just the universe has blessed me with some really key people in my life, mentors, friends. And that was like an epiphany. It was like, all right, like for me, I was like, I always knew the big girl was in there because she loves to eat. And I love to eat. But it was all these other things. It was the getting teased. It was the, you know, liking the boy in school, but him not liking me. It was, you know, just being one of the boys because that's all I could be. And, you know, when I did lose the weight and then I got the backlash from the girls, that was also scary and detrimental to me too, because it was like, okay, so it's bad to look this way. It's bad to get attention. So it was just a tug of war with who am I? Who am I? Who am I and what am I? You know, and too afraid to be great because I was made to feel bad when I lost the weight and be academically successful. You know,
well, I want to just focus a little bit, because when you finally turned inward and you started to love yourself, prioritize yourself, date yourself, look at all the things you were able to accomplish, right? Your song Phoenix came out. You did a movie or played a role in a movie. You got a record deal, I think, during that time. I'm not sure if that happened. You launched an amazing website and you had a program. What's your program about? Tell me about that.
So it's crazy that we're talking about this because I'm finishing the voiceover work this week. We're launching it. It's the You Love You 30 Days to Self-Love. It's a fitness journey, but it's not meant for you to look a certain way. It's to prepare you to feel and develop a habit and lifestyle where you do things out of self-love versus self-hate. Because people always do these diets and these extreme things, and then they yo-yo. Why? Because you're not doing it from self-love. You're doing it because I hate myself. I hate myself. I hate myself. So you punish yourself for all these things. And then before you know it, you've gained the weight back and more. We're here. I just want you to be comfortable in your flesh and who you are and get to know the do's and the don'ts and develop a healthy habit so that you can then continue moving forward. And I'm really happy to be able to talk about that because this is something that I worked on before my surgery. Now, mind you, when you first met me, I had that body, right? Everybody was like, oh, her abs, she's got an amazing body. I'm like, no, it's called heartache. It's called insomnia and depression. Now I put on weight. I'm happy with myself. I'm not there like, oh my God, I don't have those abs anymore. No, I'm glad that I don't look like misery, because I know that that was just misery. That was pain. That was suffering. That was heartache, you know? I'm happy, you know? So
Honestly,
that's what I
right
want to
now,
teach people.
yeah, maybe because you just came back from, was it Puerto Rico? Like your
Puerto
skin,
Rico, what are the
Puerto Rico, your skin is glowing. You look amazing. You look fresh. All right. So before we wrap up, where can our friends follow you, find you, and where can they find your program?
Awesome. So if you go to iamjasenia.net, you'll be able to find the information of the 30-day self-love challenge. On the website, you'll be able to find all my handles. But if you're on Instagram, TikTok, and all that stuff, it's I am Jasenia. That's I-A-M Jasenia. And I'm just so looking forward to the future. I am. I know that back a year ago, pandemic, world was upside down. I wasn't the only one going through. We were all going through it together. And in some weird way, that made me not feel as alone. Knowing that other people were going through things, and knowing that you said something to me, Jasenia, you've been through worse, remember that, and you survived it. I think that was one of the biggest aha moments, because I'm like, yeah, I was left for dead. And even though I was left here, I'm not dead. I'm fully alive, and I have to. And I thank you. I thank my therapist. I thank Chai, my dog Chai. Living with her and having her depend on me, Mama had to bounce back. She had to bounce back fast, because I saw my baby withering away too. So now she has a habit of not eating until she sees me eat. And I'm like, okay, let's eat.
Well, that's amazing. And I want to follow up with you again in the next 6 months. And as I see you conquer the world and help so many men and women, because you have a very strong community. You look amazing. I'm so proud of you. And everyone follow Jasenia. Thank you so much. You are the epitome of self-love and what hard work can do to change your love and life. And I can't wait to see the next incredible human being that enters your life. I think you're so worth it. Thanks, friend.
Thank you so much. Love you lots. Mwah.
Love you. Bye.